Hello, my name is Matthias and welcome to the FPL Scope, and this video where I'm going to talk about my Gameweek26 score, what happened in Gameweek26, good and bad, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about the future in FPL and what's going to come up next in especially blank Gameweek29, but also how that might affect our plans for Gameweek27 as well. So first and foremost, I think the wildcard is going to be pretty popular this game week for Gameweek27. I think a lot of people, once we get the confirmed fixtures in 29 and the confirmed double game week teams eventually in this season, when that is fully set now with the results in the FA Cup, I think a lot of people will be tempted to use the wildcard and have a lot of double game week players for game 28 first and foremost, with Bournemouth tripling up on Bournemouth, having potentially Doughty and potentially another Luton player for game 28, and then having a playing team in game week 29 as well, a team that will be able to play without using a free hit in game 29. I think that tactic is going to be pretty popular this week, but it all depends on what happens in the FA Cup, obviously, with the results there. But I'm going to take a little bit of a look on my own team as well, if those plans are right for me. If I want to do the wildcard in Game 27, it is slightly tempting, I must say, but I do still lean towards doing just a free hit in Game 29, saving my wildcard for potentially for Game 35 even, but also possibly around that Game 31, 32 sort of area as well. So still a lot of options when it comes to your chips, but we're going to talk about that later in the video. First and foremost, let's talk about Game Week 26 and what happened there. And it was a pretty good game week, or a really good game week for me in general. 72 points with a -4 hit for doing 2 transfers, even though I only have 1 free transfer available. And when it comes to the transfers, I had 1 really good transfer and 1 not so good transfer for now, at least. But yeah, let's just talk about them before we go into the rest of the team and stuff. The first transfer was Doughty to Aït-Nouri, and obviously the result of the player coming in was fantastic. Aït-Nouri with 12 points. But I did sell Doughty, which was a bit of a risky move, I guess, because he does double in Game of 28. And he is now going to play in Game of 29 as well if Nottingham Forest lose to Manchester United in the FA Cup on Wednesday. But what I was thinking there was the fact that Virgil van Dijk has a really good fixture in Game 27 that I want against Nottingham Forest away. Van Dijk looked really good now as well. This was obviously after I did the transfer, but Van Dijk looked really good in the Carabao Cup final as well, scoring a goal, even 2 goals. One of them was disallowed, and keeping a clean sheet against Chelsea, which is really impressive. So I think Van Dijk is still a really good option for Game 27. So I'm pretty happy to have him there still, because he would have been the player that I would have sold rather than Doughty if I had not sold Doughty, because I needed to sell a defender who didn't play for a defender that did play to field 11 players. And I also really wanted Aït-Nouri or potentially Munoz from Crystal Palace, both of which scored a lot of points this week. I also did consider Saliba. I got 2 points, but I think Saliba is a good player for the future as well. But either way, I ended up selling Doughty and getting Aït-Nouri, and currently I'm pretty happy with that, seeing how Virgil van Dijk looked in the Carabao Cup final. And also, yes, Doughty has the double in Game 28, which would be nice, but I'm also looking to sell Van Dijk in Game 28 for Senesi, who I think has a better double than Doughty as well. So in the end, I'm pretty happy with selling Doughty, but I'm still a bit unsure, depending on what happens in FA Cup results, if I would have been better off saving him and having more players for Game 29. But either way, ended up with 12 points from Aït-Nouri, which was fantastic. His first assist this season. Clean sheet for him. He was subbed off early even, so even if they had conceded towards the end of that match, he would have still kept his 3 bonus points, his 3 assist points, and his clean sheet points. So massive game week from Aït-Nouri. Really happy with that transfer in general. Second transfer was Diogo Jota out, and I always had Hwang Hee-chan in mind for this game week. People might think that this was because of the whole Twitter hype and stuff, everyone wanting to buy Hwang Hee-chan, but I had a video back at January 10th where I basically had this transfer sort of penciled in, where I thought Hwang would be a really nice player to get back in, because he's been fantastic this whole season. They played Sheffield United at home, one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in the league. They just lost 5-0 to Brighton as well in this past game week. And Wolverhampton looking good. So I don't really regret this transfer either. I think I would have done it again, like if I didn't know the hindsight of Bowen scoring a hat-trick and getting 20 points, Douglas Luiz scoring 2 goals and getting 12 points, or even more than that potentially. Can't remember exactly the points for Douglas Luiz, but obviously the result wasn't there in the end. If I had bought someone like Bowen, for example, I would have had another confirmed Game 29 player, or confirmed Game 29 player in Bowen, and he would have scored me 20 points rather than the 3 points from Hwang. So obviously that would have helped me, but I think what we knew before the game week, with Hwang being, at least before Asian Cup, being in really good form for Wolves, and Wolves being a really good team, and West Ham struggling a bit lately, and Bowen scoring only 12 points in the past 6 game weeks before this game week, I think it sort of made sense. But I did, to my defense at least, I did say that Bowen was a really good transfer before the game week. I also told Kevin, who is my co-host on the FPL School podcast, we're going to discuss this tomorrow. He was about to buy Hwang Hee-chan, or he was looking at potentially buying Hwang Hee-chan, but he doesn't have a free hit in Game 29. So I said to him, you should get Bowen instead because he works better for your plans. So yeah, at least he got to reap the rewards of that. And me as well, as a West Ham fan, really happy to see Bowen score a hat-trick anyway. And I've sort of been a jinx for him this season. So maybe if I had bought him, maybe he wouldn't have scored. But that's just, that's just superstition, I guess. But either way, still happy to have Hwang. Pretty happy to play him in Gameweek 27 as well. I'm most likely going to have to do that because Garnacho has a pretty tough fixture against Man City. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with having Hwang for the foreseeable future as well, potentially. If he blanks in the next like 3 or 4 game weeks, then maybe I want to sell him potentially. But I think he's going to be good. And I do have some history with Hwang in this season as well. I had Hwang earlier, right before the Asian Cup as well. I brought him in for a pretty easy fixture where he blanked, and then he blanked in the following 2 game weeks as well. And I felt pretty bad about transferring him in. And then he got 14 points against Brentford, scoring 2 goals in the first half. So things can happen quickly if you hold on to Hwang. All of a sudden, you get that release and you get the joy that you're looking for with Hwang. But yeah, he's still a really good player, and I don't really mind having him in my team, even though Bowen got several more points than him. So in the end, I had to sell Jota. He's injured, out for a long time. He blanked anyway in that game week because Liverpool didn't have a match in that game week. So all in all, pretty happy with my transfers, and it might also be beneficial for these upcoming game weeks if I do keep my free hits for Game Week 34 instead of using it in Game Week 29, because it seems like Wolves might actually have a fixture now against Bournemouth in 29. If they lose to Brighton, then Bournemouth against Wolves will be played in Game Week 29 rather than being postponed for the future game weeks. So yeah, pretty happy with both Aït-Nouri and Hwang in my team, and it ended up being a pretty nice score of 15 points from those 2 guys rather than the 0 points that Doughty and Diogo Jota would have gotten me from if I had kept those guys instead. So yeah, pretty happy with that. 1,644 points in total, 27k overall, 21 points spent the top 10k. Looking really good for the future, I think, for my team. Speaking of the rest of the team, Jared Branthwaite was another big hero for me this game week. 9 points from him. He scored a goal against Brighton. It looked like he was going to keep a clean sheet and get 15 points as well. But then Everton conceded at the very end of the game, which lost him, obviously, 6 points, Branthwaite, 2 bonus points, and some points from scoring or from keeping a clean sheet as well. 4 points from keeping a clean sheet. So yeah. But I can't be too unhappy about that. 9 points from Branthwaite I would have taken any day of the week, so really happy about that. He's a pretty big differential as well. Both Aït-Nouri and Branthwaite were some of my least highly owned players in the team, so really happy about them. My third sort of differential player there is Garnacho, who again blanked for me. 2 points from him. So I've benched him in 2 game weeks since I got him, and he got 16 points against West Ham in one of them and 5 points in Game Week 25 in the other. So 21 points over those 2 game weeks. And I've played him in, 3 or 4 game weeks at this point? Maybe 4 game weeks. And he's blanked in every single one of them. So Garnacho is proving to be a pretty annoying player to have because I just keep benching his points and I keep playing him when he blanks. But I still think he's a good pick. He's still looking lively every single game. He looks like he's a threat to get an assist or get a goal. Even though Man United now are going to be hampered without Højlund for the foreseeable future as well, for the next few game weeks at least. So yeah, Garnacho might be someone that I'm looking to sell potentially, but yeah, pretty disappointing to not see him get any points against Fulham at home, but I think it's a lot down to Højlund being out and Man United just struggling a lot without Højlund in that match. Foden, 11 points. Beautiful to see him score some points as well. He got a goal from a Holland assist. Holland was my captain, who, again, was slightly disappointing. And then now he turned around and scored 5 goals in the cup against Luton. So, yeah, he with De Bruyne getting 4 assists at that as well. De Bruyne, as you can see on my bench. That was actually one of the other good things about this game week. I actually ended up benching De Bruyne because I did the Jota to Hwang move. I benched De Bruyne, so it could have gone really badly if De Bruyne had come on and scored a lot of points. Then that transfer from Jota to Hwang could have been really costly with the -4 and then De Bruyne outplaying him. But at least De Bruyne just came on, got a yellow card, I think, and got 0 points. So really happy with the decision to bench him. Otherwise, I probably would have benched Solanke. I probably would have brought in Hwang regardless because I really wanted it in this game week. And And I probably would have benched Solanke, who was really close to scoring in City as well, but he only ended up getting 2 points. So yeah, not the best there. Watkins with 1 goal and 1 assist, I think, and no bonus points. So 9 points from Watkins. Really happy about that as well. He's been fantastic for me, as well as Saka, who once again scored. And yeah, he's just absolutely fantastic lately. Bukayo Saka, I think he's gotten the lowest score he's had in the last 6 game weeks is 9 points. He's gotten like a 15-pointer, he's gotten like a 12-pointer, 2 10-pointers, I think, and a 9-pointer or something like that. Absolutely crazy numbers from Saka, who was like kind of close to selling in Game Week 22 for Michael Olise. And that game week is the game week where Saka got 9 points and Olise got 16 points. So at that game week, it looked actually like a good move. But then Olise got injured in that match and hasn't played since. And Saka has just been absolutely fantastic since. So I have made some dumb decisions lately, but that one was not one of them. Keeping Saka has been fantastic for me. He was my vice captain this time and got 10 points by himself, which is really, really nice. Gabriel conceded, getting 2 points, but I think that's actually a win for me because I think a lot of people have Gabriel already. Most people have Gabriel, and some people have Saliba on top of that or Raya on top of that. So I think I actually gained a bit of a rank from Gabriel conceding a goal in that game. He almost had the first goal against Newcastle as well. If I got an assist or a goal from that, that would have obviously helped, but can't really complain about Gabriel, who's been one of the best players in FPL this season, or especially lately. So yeah, all in all, pretty good game week. Pretty happy with the score of 72 points. 27k, really happy about that, and really excited for the future. And speaking of the future, let's go into a site that is called FPL.team and see what you can do when it comes to planning your Game Week 29, if you're going to use a free hit in that game week or not, and looking beyond that as well to see how many players you have for Game Week 34, for example, which is going to basically determine what you're going to do when it comes to your chip strategy. So this is my team currently for Game 27 using FPL.team. And like I mentioned, you can check out the projected fixtures for the future. You just go down and press this button here, set Planet FPL projected fixtures. And then you can see how many players you have playing for Game 29, which is going to be the most important thing for you to figure out currently. Because if you have enough players for 29 and you can navigate that without using a free hit, then that is probably the best idea, because then you can use your free hit for 34 instead and basically do a wildcard at any point between Game Week 30 and 35 to perfectly set up for Game Week 36 and 37 without worrying about Game Week 34 in general. But for me, looking at my team and Game Week 29 for me, I only have Areola and Watkins currently playing against each other as well for this game week. I don't have any other player playing this game week, and that's partly due to the fact that I knew that or thought that at least that I would be more likely to either use a free hit in 29 or wildcard in 27 to have a team in 29. So that's currently still my tactic, to free hit in 29, but maybe you have someone different. Maybe you have a lot of different players here. Maybe you brought in Bowen this week, for example, and you have Douglas Luiz, and you have other players that have confirmed Game 29 fixtures. Maybe you have Reguilon in defense. Maybe you have an Aston Villa defender. There's a lot of different variation here, and maybe we also get some extra players from the results on Wednesday. If Wolverhampton go out of the cup, we'll get, or for me, with my team at least, I'd get Aitnori and Hwang Hee-chan on top of Solanke, because they also play Wolverhampton in Game Week 29. So I'd have 3 more players for this game week. I'd still only have 5 players at that point, which is still not enough for me to go away from the free hits 29 idea. But if on top of that, on top of the Wolves players and the Bournemouth players this game week, we get Chelsea going out of the cup as well and playing Arsenal in Game 29, then I'd have more than enough players to field an 11 in Game 29 without using a free hit. And at that point, I would probably go through Game Week 29 without using a free hit. But currently, I'm still on the plan of doing a free hit in 29, not only because I have very few players left for 29, but also because I think my team is looking pretty good for these game weeks. Game Week 30, a lot of good matches in this game week. Game Week 31, a lot of good matches here, a lot of good matches in 32 as well, 33. I have some pretty nice plans for those game weeks that I'm not going to go into in this video, but it's looking pretty good for those game weeks as well. And then Game Week 34, it's not even too bad for me without a free hit. I have Gabriel and Saka, obviously. Arsenal with the most important double game week for this game week as it stands right now. A lot of things can change, obviously, with the FA Cup results and the FA Cup draw. But for now, Game Week 34 is looking good with Arsenal, Everton, Crystal Palace, and Sheffield United doubling potentially. And out of those teams, I don't really want any of those players before or after 34, which is actually a nice, apart from Arsenal, obviously, which is actually a pretty nice argument for free hits in Game 34, because that's usually the best time to use a free hit, is when you can bridge a gap between 2 game weeks and getting players for that specific game week that you don't really want before or after that game week, which is why I kind of like it for Game 29. Because obviously, I don't really like any of the players for Game 29, because otherwise I would have them in my team already. I feel like this is the best team that I can field currently in terms of playing the game optimally. And as you can see, very few Game 29 players as it stands if all the correct results or all the expected results go through. So yeah, at this point, I could use a free hit and just get in all those Aston Villa players, all those West Ham players, all those Brentford players that have decent fixtures this game week, and potentially someone else as well. Maybe Man United if they go out of the cup and they have Sheffield United at home in Game Week 29. That would be a really nice thing to have for Game 29 as well. But yeah, looking at Game Week 34 as well, you can see the double game week players that you have. If you have a lot of Everton, Crystal Palace, Arsenal players already, and you don't have that many players from Aston Villa, West Ham, and Spurs, for example, that I don't have, then I think you should stay with the same tactic as me. But if you have, for example, Pedro Porro on the bench, you have Richarlison already, you have plans to get in Son this game week, you have all those players that I mentioned from West Ham, Aston Villa, and those guys. If you have Taylor for Burnley, for example, who's also a nice bench player, you can have available to use for Game 29, then obviously your transfer plans will change and your chip strategy will change. So keep that in mind. But then the third aspect, which might be coming into play as well, if we get some other weird results here, for example, if Wolves go through and Bournemouth have a confirmed fixture in Game 29 and Luton have a confirmed fixture in 29 already as well, while also doubling and going 28, then I think wildcarding in Game Week 27 could be a really nice option as well. So just a lot of things to think about, which will become a lot clearer, obviously, for Wednesday and Thursday. But I figured I should just put out the video when most other content creators are not putting out videos. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, then please tell me in the comments. First and foremost, I really like getting nice comments on the videos. But also, if you like the video, that would also really help with the algorithm and stuff. And most importantly, if you want to subscribe, if you want to see more content from this site, if you are impressed by my rank of 27k, really good rank, then please subscribe as well, and I'll see you in another video in the future as well. So this was just a quick and nice update video after the Tuesday results in the FA Cup. I'll obviously have way more content planned for the rest of the week when we get a clearer picture of the future game weeks, including the weekly wildcard draft. This is usually something that I put out on Wednesdays, Wednesday morning, but seeing as we have so many important fixtures to determine the future in FPL and FA Cup, I wanted to wait with the wildcard draft before we have the clear picture for 29 and beyond in terms of what we want to do with our wildcard, because that will be heavily dependent on what happens in the FA Cup on Wednesday, and especially the draw as well on Wednesday. So yeah, with that in mind, thank you for watching the video. I'll see you next time, and goodbye.